Hi, and welcome to another executive interview. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Jim McKerlie, Executive Chairman of Kendo, a people-centered SaaS platform that aims to improve performance at all levels of an organization. Jim, it's great to have you join us for this interview today.
Yes, it's lovely to be here. Thank you very much for having me.
Amazing. Now, let us kick off this interview by you explaining the problem that Kendo aims to solve in the world of work and HR.
Okay, so if we just stand back and think of what's happened in the last 3 years, that's accelerated the changes and the trends that were happening in the way that people worked and what work meant. And it's accelerated. We've probably seen a decade or 2 decades worth of change occur very quickly. So we've got a really new dynamic in the workplace, and the arrangements, the way people work, what work actually means, what is meaningful work, what is the work-life balance, what is wellness. Everything that's important in managing people has been turned on its head, and we need to have another look at how we manage it. Now, the aspect that Kendo looks at in particular is that not only have these work practices been bent out of shape, but the strategic alignment of the organisation has also been bent a fair bit. So how can you get proper performance measurement or management or talent development, or get your teams to work more productively if, in fact, there's not a backbone of strong strategic alignment in the organisation? So that's the Kendo point of difference, is that we ensure that there's strategic alignment and then go and put the best practice in terms of getting the best out of our people.
Brilliant. Now let us dive deeper into the process. So can you talk to us exactly how does Kendo approach the trend of automation in the workplace and the rise of the contingent workers?
Okay, so I think we are part of the trend of automation. Kendo itself automates an enormous amount of HR administration, takes away a lot of the administration, takes away a lot of the compliance-orientated work that HR people do. And as such, it allows those people to spend their time on nourishing and developing their people rather than administering contracts and working through those things. So that's very much we see we're part of that automation, part of that. It's almost as if we're disrupting the HR function in a way, but not in a bad way, in a good way, because it lets HR people focus on the things that they really want to get on and do that make a big impact for their people.
Absolutely. Now, another thing, Jim, that would be great for our audience, would be if you could give us an example of exactly how Kendo empowers individuals to, self-manage their career development and, furthermore, the impact on the productivity.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a big one, really. I mean, what's the big social change within employment has been that there's been a democratization of the workplace, so that it's much more people need to agree to do work rather than being told that's what they have to do. And the ownership of the career ladder has gone from the employer to the employee. Employees have to take responsibility and manage their own career development. Now, with the support of the employer, of course. And one of the nice little features in Kendo was we get everyone to define their role and their responsibilities and what part of the business plan they're responsible for and so on. But we allow people to create a second role, a future role. And they do the same assessment of their capabilities as they would for their primary role, but they compare where they want to be and where they need to be to achieve that future role. So they can map out some career plans, growth goals that will actually not only fulfill what they're meant to be doing now, but to allow them to understand what they need to do to get to where they want to go. And that's a very big feature, along with the fact that when we do assessments of capabilities and all that for everybody, they can actually take that assessment with them when they leave. It's like a passport. They can take it and take it to the next place. So they own their career path and they can take their career history and development and details with them. And that's genuinely beneficial to employees.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with that. Now, for my next question, Jim, it would be great if you could tell us about how does Kendo's approach to measuring the employee experience differ from, the traditional methods that we would have heard about?
Yes. So the traditional way of measuring employee experience has really been by survey, employee surveys, and they are valid, but they are very dependent on the climate of the day. And when people are filling in a survey, it's we all put in answers that we think we want to see rather than necessarily what is actually happening. The Kendo approach is that we create a very large database with all of the things that we measure, and we scrape through that database for indications and indicators of what people are thinking. And we have a view that there are 4 components to employee experience. The first is, where do you want to be in your career? And it's interesting that BCG did a sort of a map on where individuals are and came up with 8 sort of prototypes. The second thing is, are you doing work that's meaningful and enjoyable? That impacts incredibly how you feel about, your work. The third is, most of your relationships and dealings are within your team. So the learning opportunities, the role models that you see, that you have people got your back, the support, that all comes from your team. And finally, of course, the corporate support, which goes to the macro issues of, where you work, what IT you have, is there a whistleblower program, all of the corporate things. So there are actually 4 elements. And in Kendo, we actually measure those. We don't survey them. We measure them from the way people are behaving and what they're doing and what they're filling in their reviews and their pulse checks and so on. And we can get a very detailed understanding of employee experience. And, you can look at employee experience for the whole organisation, but in fact, there are cohorts within that organisation that have got a very different experience. And that allows you to sort of take a more focused approach in dealing with employee experience, and it gives you the ability to develop an employee experience strategy that you can execute. So it is a very different and rather unique approach that is fact-driven.
Brilliant. Now, for my next question, I would love for you to tell us a bit more about Kendo's approach to creating the high-performance teams and the impact on an organization's success, like anything you feel that you've missed out that you would like to add.
Yeah, okay. So our view is that at one end of a business, an organisation, you've got the chief executive and the executive suite, and they're responsible for creating big, hairy, audacious goals that satisfy stakeholders and shareholders and all sorts of stuff. And at the other end, you've got the employee, the single employee. And the nexus between those two is quite small. A single employee doesn't really understand or care that much about the big, hairy, audacious goals. What they're interested in is what faces them in the workplace. And that is the connector between those two different ends of the business are teams. And every organisation's got lots of teams. Now, a team can be highly inefficient and operate like a committee, and we've all been in teams like that where it's ego-driven and there's no shared mission, and people are it's just a forum for people to sort of, become heroes within their own little domain. But if you look at sports, there's an enormous amount of work that's been done in sports in identifying what are the necessary elements of a high-performance team. And we've studied that and we've applied that. So in Kendo, you can elect to take your team that's there and adopt the principles and behaviours and processes that high-performance teams adopt. And we've built in a process whereby teams can follow that. They can set their mission, their business objectives. They can have an understanding of how they behave, create a safe place where they can do things and that they know that people's got their back. And it creates a very different environment. And when those behavioural traits are evident, the research shows that the team is a much more high-performing team, much greater productivity, better levels of engagement, employee experience, and the whole thing works better. And most organisations are comprised of teams, so organisational success is dependent certainly on the people and their success, but their success is very much dependent on how well the team that they belong to has performed. So it's crucial, it's vital to get organisational success is to get your teams working, and that means just don't treat them the way they've always been treated. Adopt the principles of a high-performance team and you'll get the results.
Very well said, Jim. Absolutely. Now, as a parting question, it would be great, for our viewers to hear more about what is in store for Kendo in 2023. Any insights that you can provide us about the future plans and growth prospects for Kendo?
Yes, look, it's very interesting. Last night I took a colleague through where we're up to with the platform, and we launched 3 years ago, in fact, at a Wholesale Investor conference, and the day we launched is the day that the world realised there was a pandemic about to arrive. And so we've onboarded several very significant clients, ASX-listed clients, large clients, and we've used that as an opportunity to perfect the product. And any product that a software company makes is at best 80% done until they throw it out into the market. Well, we've used the last 3 years to actually perfect the product. And I went through it last night and I was enormously proud of what it does. We've got our focus going forward is not so much on further product development because we've got a comprehensive platform, but we are focusing on acquiring clients, the smaller enterprise clients, ASX-listed companies, large private companies, public organisations, charities, anywhere where there needs to be clear accountability for what the organisation is doing and what it's doing with other people's money. And that's one of the things that the strategic alignment does. It actually allows you to identify what are we here for, who do we need to report to, and to show that we've used their money wisely and we've got results. And that's very much what our focus is going to be. We're going to sort of take our product extensively to market, and we've started that process this year, and we look forward to onboarding many more, clients, and the ones that we've onboarded to date have been absolutely delighted. And so we're very happy that we're going to continue that process.
That's brilliant, Jim. And I would like to firstly thank you for coming on for this interview and sharing wonderful insights and the story behind Kendo with us today. For anyone who's interested to get in touch with the team at Kendo, please see the details on your screen or in the description. And thanks again, Jim. I wish you all the luck with your venture moving forward.
Thank you, Rhythm. It's been delightful talking to you.
Thank you.